What's going on, guys? Scarce here. Today I'm going to be doing a breakdown of Dante's Inferno so that your chud brain can understand it. In modern life, too common of a saying is, "I'm lost, I have no purpose, life is without meaning." And we wrongly blame it as a problem of ourselves that if only I had fame, money, and status that I wouldn't feel like this. It's what fuels the grind, the ascent through this game of capital and material. But what if I told you it's not a you problem? You're bound to run into this feeling in our society. As hard as we try, there's some things that we can't recreate. And that's what we did. We tried to create a fake game slowly after the Industrial Revolution. That feeling of meaninglessness, it's your subconscious telling you all of this is fake and it won't make you whole. Right now, we're seeing the transition to become completely immersed in this fake game. The bureaucracy that cares more about following protocol than it does your humanity. Everything being shifted into the digital world. We're being turned into bots. And that's not to say to start reading the Bible and going to church. What I'm getting at is a deeper esoteric truth, that it's an inwards journey to self-fulfillment, that there's genuinely layers to this shit. There's code running in the background that you can't see, but it's there. Every religion has a way of interpreting it and creating their own story so that we goys can understand it. I say fuck that, learn it for yourself, because when these religions interpret it, they often twist it. It's like a person finding lemons. He serves people the pure juice itself, and at first people hate it. It's too strong, it's too sour, so he dilutes it using all of these things that make you feel good, sugar, water, so that he can serve it to the most amount of people as possible. And as the business grows, it gets diluted more and more until you get mellow yellow. I think the greatest pursuit a person can take is the pursuit of one's faith, to understand your place in the world and to ponder about questions that we've been asking since the dawn of humanity, but we still can't answer. Today we're gonna take a sip straight from the lemon tree and Dante's Inferno, one of the greatest pieces of literature written that you can't read. A book so great it changed the trajectory of the world. A corrupt and depraved 1302 Italy where politicians sold out their citizens for riches and power. Sounds a little familiar. Dante wrote the Divine Comedy and it sparked the renaissance of art and beauty. The people call it the Divine Comedy because it served as a warning for a moralist and depraved society. That when an ordinary person like Dante, who has genuine faith in the world, can't find connection and feels alienated from a society that rewards the faithless, a dead-set spiral downwards into the clutches of hell, where people are almost like possessed by demons. It is only then God will take judgment into his own hands to reset society. And that's what happened. Dante died in 1321 writing the last pages of Paradiso as a grave warning for those corrupt and drag the morals of society downwards. He condemned real-life politicians, church officials, and people. The corrupt Pope of the Church at the time, Pope Boniface, was sentenced to hell in his book. For a virtueless society, only disaster awaits. 1331, exactly 10 years after Dante died, the Black Plague broke out and swept through Europe as one of the most horrific times in history. Before, whereas Dante had developed a cult following, he was known as the politician who was exiled from his own city. After the Black Death, everyone knew him as the person who wrote the Divine Comedy. The way I see it, we've lost the deterrent for these demons, and the same demons are crawling back into society but with different faces. Before we start our descent into hell, we end up in the woods without any memories. Maybe it was the 2 lines of coke I took at that party, or the perk 30s I received at the club, but it doesn't matter. I'm here now and I don't want to go back. In the distance, I see a grand mountain bathed in the morning light of the sun. As I make my way towards the mountain, 3 beasts block me, a lion, a leopard, and a wolf. A massive stone gate lies before me, Maybe the only way forwards is downwards. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Now, as your guide and as we sail past the river Acheron, I want to explain that you never end up in hell unknowingly. Everyone in hell has made the conscious decision to be in hell at some point in their lives. Walking through life with genuine faith will never put you in hell even if you make mistakes. It's not accidental. Those who end up in hell either ignored their intuition or subconscious, or they took it too far in either having too much ego or too little ego. Now, we're gonna move straight to circle 2, which is lust, or the simp. Those people who can't control themselves but to chase the next void. They beg for Discord roles and mods as a futile attempt to be seen. What drives them is their lust, their wiener. They're annoying to be around because you know they'll switch up on a dime if a girl's involved. These simps who let their dicks do the thinking are sentenced to the second circle of hell, where constant winds blow people off their feet. The violent howling winds offer no rest to those damned in it. This is the perfect punishment for simps because it mirrors what they did in real life. They can never stand still and focus. They're constantly distracted by their desires. And the thing about the first 4 sins is that they come from a lack of ego, a lack of hope, a lack of will. Just like how simps kiss the feet of their e-kittens, these people are human scum and they know it. But not only that, they accept it, which dooms them to hell. Circle 3 is gluttony, or the goyim, distracted by the endless comforts of modern day life. These people are so fed from the shit slop content and constant distraction of short-term bursts of dopamine, they never awaken to the truth. All that's just hocus pocus, I just want to drink beer and watch the NFL game. The main theme here is consumption. They consume whatever's given to them. Love Island, Obsession, Wuthering Heights. They lie face flat in a constant downpour of shit as they squirm around like pigs in a pen. This mirrors how they lived, like pigs, letting the endless comforts of life dull them from ever awakening. Again, the problem stems from not having enough hope and not having enough will. These people need the constant distractions because they can't sit with themselves and look in the mirror. The endless consumption distracts them from the thought of they are not enough. Circle 4 is greed. Now there's 2 types of people here, the hoarders and the spenders, or the investment bros and the gambling addicts. The problem with these people is that they're weighed down by their materialism. They spend all their energy in a useless, unending cycle of either gaining or spending. They stop the flow of money for the ordinary person. One person hoards all the wealth and the other misdirects it into casinos. Their punishment is to roll boulders on a track where they eventually crash into each other and they repeat the cycle for all eternity. This represents how useless their pursuit is. And again, it stems from the sin of letting things take over you, of not having enough will and not having enough hope. All these people who want to be rich, it stems from insecurity, that the only way I'll ever be loved is if I was rich, that you're not enough, so you need money to fill that gap. Circle 5 is wrath, and again, there's 2 types of people here, the PDF files and the PDF file catchers. This circle is for people who let either wrath blind them or let wrath suffocate them. The people who let their rage explode outwards and the people who bottle up their repressed rage inside. PDF files have a repressed rage. That's why they target the young and defenseless. PDF file catchers let their rage explode outwards. They go looking for the conflict because they get an erection humiliating people like that. And again, this comes from a lack of hope that you are not enough and you can't be redeemed. That's why you go down the spiral of self-destruction. These people are not happy people. Their punishment is to violently tear at each other above a toxic swamp. Meanwhile, the PDF files who let their rage suffocate them, suffocate under the swamp, never reaching the surface. Now that we're done the first few circles of hell, we have to move through the city of Dis to reach the deeper levels. At the gates of the walled city of Dis, Medusa turns people to stone. She represents despair and, more importantly, nihilism, to turn your heart into stone, to give up on higher ideals and meaning. You have decided that life is completely random and meaningless. There are no consequences to your actions. God doesn't exist. There's no moral compass, so take what you can take. Circle 6 is heresy, or the grifters. The main theme here is ignorance, where they have all of the tools to reach the truth, but they refuse anyways. They aren't people who want to see the truth. They grift and trap themselves in their own echo chambers, because their biggest fear is their beliefs being challenged. Their punishment is that they're crammed into narrow stone boxes surrounded by fire. Cut off from the rest of the universe, they chose a narrow and ignorant worldview, so they get a narrow, suffocating tomb for all eternity. Circle 7 is violence, pretty plain and simple. It's split into 4 parts: violence against others, violence against the self, violence against God/nature, and violence against art. Violence against others is pretty simple. It's tyrants, warlords, and murderers. They kill out of a lack of compassion, and their punishment is that they are drowned in blood according to the depth of their bloodlust. Violence against the self is pretty self-explanatory. It's the ultimate act of despair. Their punishment is that they regrow as gnarled trees in hell that never bear any leaves or fruit. Harpies tear at their skin and tear off branches. Leaving the pesticide forest, we arrive at a burning hot desert where flames fall from the sky. Violence against God. This one's also pretty simple. It's those who hate/curse God, who not only deny a higher power, but actively expresses hatred towards the thought of a higher power existing. They are condemned to lie on their backs facing the fire directly. Violence against nature. This is pretty much everyone on the left. They're people who hate normalcy, they hate traditionality, and embrace transhumanism. They push all of these ideologies like feminism and abortion because they hate everything normal. They hate the idea of a straight relationship. They hate the idea of babies. The LGBTQ who put on these pride parades full of gay, naked men for little kids to watch. It's the literal definition of sodomy, and that's what Dante meant by violence against nature. Sorry, but y'all are going straight to Circle 7. Violence against art. This one's better explained with an example. They're Hollywood executives, higher-ups who care about profit more than the art itself. They push the art aside and turn the business into making money. They make their money off of usury, of charging interest. Their punishment is that they're forced to crouch and huddle in a ball, staring at their money bags for all eternity while the fire rains on their backs. Circle 8, fraud. What does fraud mean? Because it doesn't mean writing your name wrong on your tax papers. Deception, dishonesty, to take advantage of those who don't know any better. It turns more people into monsters. It makes people lose faith in humanity and makes society worse in general. It's split into 4 pouches. First are the panders and seducers. They're the Hello Kitty girls, the TikTok e-girls, OnlyFans. Basically, they take advantage of simps who don't know any better. They're not honest people. They're so obsessed with the image they maintain that it drags them into a materialistic mindset. For attention, for money, for fame. It's a lack of being genuine, also known as fraud. For lying and manipulating others in hell, they are driven like cattle by demons who whip them. Number 2 are the flatterers, or the glazers. We all know the dudes in a group who constantly stroke each other's cocks. The dude who's always glazing the guy he wants something from. They gas up someone's ego with fake compliments and glaze, but what they're really doing is they're spewing shit out of their mouths. Their punishment is that they're literally submerged in shit because they're sick and disgusting. Number 3 are the simoniacs. These are the church officials during Dante's time who sold magical church artifacts for millions of dollars at the time. During this time, the narrative was that if you had a lot of money and influence, you could buy your way out of hell by giving money to the church. And surprise, surprise, this made the church rich! A parallel to this in the modern day are the rug pullers who tell you, yo bro, Coin 10x, they are sentenced to be placed face first in a ditch and having their feet hang out and being burned by the flames. Now, I'm going to go through the next 5 pretty fast because, again, it's pretty cut and dry, plain and simple. Number 4 are the sorcerers and false prophets. These people are like the astrology hoes. They try and predict the future with the stars and shit. Number 5 are corrupt politicians. Their whole job is to literally lie to your face. Number 6 are hypocrites. They don't actually believe what they preach. Number 7 are thieves. They steal shit, and in hell, snakes basically steal their bodies in an endless cycle of stealing. Pouch 8 are fraudulent advisors. These are just therapists. They use their positions of authority to drive more people into sin and despair. Pouch 9 are the sowers of discord. So these are like instigators. Basically, everyone in the CIA, controlled opposition, they divide people and make the truth harder to find. And for that, they get divided in hell by a sword. Pouch 10 are the falsifiers. These are people who really like to lie, so like pathological liars. They're a cancer to society, so in hell, they get cancer. Now, moving on to the last circle. Circle 9 is treachery or betrayal. The main difference between fraud and betrayal is that fraud, you're taking advantage of random people, but for treachery, it's much more personal. It's split into 3 groups: traitors to family, traitors to country, and traitors to guests. Traitors to family. Now, you might be wondering why this is the least offensive of the 3. And the reason is your family didn't actually choose you, so it hurts them less. It's their duty to put their faith in you. It doesn't hurt them as much as a person who chooses to trust you. Because the main thing about hell is it's about how much you hurt other people. How much do you make other people lose faith? Traitors to country. These are like generals who betrayed their men. It's like you're a leader and you can't even protect your own men. It's more personal that way. Traitors to guests. This one is the most offensive. Hospitality is a sacred, voluntary bond. Betraying someone who chooses to rely on you is the ultimate abuse of trust. Whether it's in a relationship or whatever, if you reach out your hand and they take your hand and you let go midway, that's what it's like. They chose to put their faith in you without any obligation to do so. When you destroy that trust, not only do you hurt them, but you create another faithless sinner who thinks that's okay, who thinks that's just how the world works. At the very bottom of hell, you'd expect there to be the hottest of flames and Satan to be some sort of like gay magician. But no, Dante subverts expectations. At the very bottom of hell lies a giant frozen lake, and all the sinners are encased in ice, feeling the bone-chilling winds of this bottom circle. And Satan, described as Dante, is almost like a giant air conditioner. He's mechanical, he's robotic, whose sole purpose is to chew Cassius, Brutus, and Judas, and flap his wings. It's an example that the end point of sinning, you become mechanical. You lose the joys of life, and life purely becomes a mechanical, animalistic instinct to take what you can take, to do everything that benefits you. You are grounded to the lowest frequencies of this planet. It's almost like that quote from the Dead Poets Society. We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race, and the human race is filled with passion. Medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for. When you don't see beauty, love, and romance in life anymore, you lose your idealism. You become a machine. You lose your humanity. You lose your soul. Life becomes black and white, and your decisions become mechanical. Do everything that benefits you. Easy. Life simply becomes a cold, nihilistic pit of despair. To stop that descent, you just need to remember one thing, that you're enough. As long as you're living and breathing, you're enough. You don't need any of this other crap. Having gone through my own ordeals of despair and hopelessness, I've noticed that the more wise you get, the more you realize that you are enough just by yourself, just as is. The more you learn to accept who you are. And that's not me saying just love yourself If you can't stand yourself, you need to learn to love yourself. Self-love comes through wisdom. To stare into the abyss and come out the other side with newfound knowledge that you are more special than you think. You are a one of one. Pursue arts, beauty, romance, philosophy, and wisdom. Deeper philosophical ideas that strike at your very soul and emotions. And most importantly, don't let your idealism die. And maybe the reason why these sinners are in hell is because their mentality mirrors their conditions.
I'm addicted to power. I want success more than I want anything. I'd kill a person for a single fucking hint of success. I crave power.